Hello, my name is Michael O'Keefe, aka The Movie Wist. If you enjoy this interview and want to hear more top-notch film industry conversations, please press the thumbs up, subscribe to this channel, and hit the bell to stay in the know. Hello, I'm talking to Yaaron and Yehuda.
Yes.
So how are you guys today? You guys enjoying yourselves in Toronto?
Very much.
Very much so?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're having a great time.
You're having a great time.
Yes.
I like to hear that. So what is the elevator pitch for, a Canadian walking around to see the movie Incitment?
Incitment is about the assassination of Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin in 1995 through the journey of the assassin. Shorter than an elevator ride. You see that? So what you're seeing is like the year and a half leading to the assassination, and actually seeing it's a psychological thriller where you see the assassin how from a relatively speaking moderate political activist, I say relatively speaking because he's still active, he turns into a political assassin. So that's what we're actually following and watching.
So, sort of broadly speaking, what was different in the 1990s between the Israeli and Palestinian conflict than it is now?
What happened then is that what Rabin was trying to do, the Palestinian claim for specific land that's their own, that's their country, and Israel of course claims for almost the same land, and there's an argument about certain occupied territories, whether they're occupied or not, etc. I have my own opinion, which is very clear, but I'm just saying there's an argument between the two people about land. And until that point, Israel was established in 1948. There were arguments whether there are Palestinian people at all. It took decades for Israel to even acknowledge that there are certain people that are called Palestinians, that they have their own national identity at all. So what happened in 1993 is that Rabin, with Peres, his foreign minister, they went into a discussion with the Palestinians in order to find a way to create an entity which was not necessarily back then a state, but some kind of an entity of autonomy for the Palestinian people. So that was a big change, and that was hope that we can make peace with the Palestinian, as opposed to the war that we had and all this the violent conflicts. What happened since in the past 24 years is that because of Rabin's assassination, he was the force behind it. Actually the whole peace process stopped. So today there is a dialogue, but it's not a dialogue about peace. It's a dialogue about maintaining some kind of a security to the two people.
So the film is really about the rise of Likud.
It's there, yeah.
Okay. And how did you prepare for this role?
How? I came prepared. No, I'm joking. It's no, I'm just like, because I'm coming from the same community. So I raised in this community. I raised upon the Torah values, and I was a religious kid till sixth grade. So I have it. I know the Yemenite kind of melodies of prayers. I know the body language. I know how to it's a kind of a world that there is some.
So your life was your preparation, basically.
And somehow, because I felt for a few times that it's a kind of I sent to this project. It felt like it's meant to be for me, but Yaaron offered me to do a method acting and to become religious. So that's what I did for almost like 3 months before. 3 months before the shooting, we started the rehearsals, and I became religious. So I went to the synagogue 3 times a day. I put tefillin, and I prayed 3 times, and I kept Shabbat, and I was avoiding a women touch. I didn't touch any women, not even shaking a hand.
Wow.
Yeah. In order to understand the physical, things as a religious, and to understand his logic and understand his mind, Yaaron fed me with so much information and videos and testimonies and everything that I can understand how he thinks, how he speaks. So I watched also a lot of videos, and I saw how he see it, how he speak, how he hold his body. So Yaaron just like gave me the whole
The world.
the whole world in order for that.
It sounds like a method experience.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, wow,
It is.
that's great because method is sometimes like dismissed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so how did you have a creative partner?
Yes, Ron Leshem.
So you directed and you co-wrote the
I
scripts?
co-wrote with Ron Leshem and directed the script. Yes, it was my idea, and I offered Ron to join me and to join in the writing. We wrote together the outline treatment. Then he wrote the first draft. Then I rewrote it for years. We had a very sort of intense creative relationship, which was very fruitful for us.
So it wasn't like two guys in the room, one guy's talking, one guy's typing?
No,
It wasn't like you guys were
not
doing
at
your
all,
own
not at
thing?
all.
Yeah, okay.
It's like a lot of brainstorming, coming up with an outline, then taking the outline and having a first draft treatment, then brainstorming, making changes. It was traveling from one person to another, and then he took the initiative of writing the first draft. Then he sent me the first draft, and I rewrote it for several years. Again, with talking to him, always in dialogue.
Can you outline some of the differences that you guys had in your approach to the material?
In general, we had the same vision for the movie. There are certain scenes, that he thought are more important, others that I thought were more important. What the scenes mean, whether they say what we want. There were, creative arguments about specific things, but all in all, I think we share the same vision for this story.
Okay. America is very close to Israel, as we know.
Yeah.
America is kind of
Yeah.
like the Israeli army, and
Yeah.
But Canada does not have that kind of relationship. It's just diplomatic at the very most, and it's basically just kind of like a bilateral kind of going along with things. So obviously the evangelicals have the religious right have a big part of that American-Israeli relationship. But you don't really have that in Canada. So what does Canada need to keep in mind about the Jewish state?
Wow. That's a tough question. I think that, it's very hard for me to say what I hope. I mean, Israel right now, in my view, from my world, right now is in a crisis. It's not right now. It's been for a long time since Rabin's murder, for sure.
Yeah.
But there's a crisis, and the crisis is about the country turning more and more into being nationalistic, more and more into being religious. There's more and more religious elements that coming into the day-to-day life. I think that's these are things that I find to be alarming and should be have a counter, so that democracy and pluralism and human rights and all that are playing a major part in society. So right now I see a problem. I can't tell you what another country can do in that respect.
Well, we can't do anything.
Exactly.
Yeah, no.
So I salute a positive relationship and try to hopefully Israel will be inspired by any other democracy that is keeping strong.
It was interesting in the film when they talk about there were people who wanted just a religious state.
Yeah.
Yes.
And often you hear on the news well, Israel is the only democracy in the region, which is why we should support it to help it flourish.
Yes. So that's starting to be in danger. That's what I can say.
So even in the States, though, there is with the squad.
Yeah.
Right. There is some discussion about what the relationship with Israel should be.
Yeah.
I know George Bush Sr. had a preconditional relationship with funding.
Sure.
Is BDS freedom of expression, or is it what is it?
So I'll be honest. I'm not. I haven't read a lot about it, not deeply. I have no knowledge of BDS whatsoever, to be honest. Besides the headlines, I was just not interested in checking it out. There's an argument whether it's just an anti-Semitic movement,
right?
Disguising as an anti-Israeli movement, but it's actually anti-Semite. Others say it's only trying to boycott Israel so that to force Israel to make peace with the Palestinians.
Right.
This is not BDS is not
It's not in
something.
your conscious.
It's not something that I'm that I'm into, so I can't say. Just don't know enough about BDS. If it's anti-Semite, I'm against it 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. Right.
If it's just criticizing Israel for what it is, then it's freedom of speech.
Yeah. What do you think about it?
I'm not familiar with it.
Oh, okay.
So,
I just hear that's what happened in South Africa. Yeah. Is how they kind of ended apartart from international pressure. Yeah. But anti-Semitism is terrible. Yeah. Any prejudice is unfounded and awful.
Sure. But also every country there's a different situation. You know? And so South Africa is one situation. Just for example, in South Africa, the white people did not have heritage in South Africa. Right. They arrived at some point, they created a colony, and then there's a conversation about who's local and who's not local, and what does it mean. Israel is, there's all this historical heritage. This is, part of there is a connection of the Jewish people, biblically speaking, to that land, and also Jews were living in that land forever. So now it's a question about how two people can live together, share the same land. How do they split the land among themselves? It's a different question for me. So there's no question about. It's a different kind of question.
It's definitely hard stuff.
Yeah. It's hard.
We can't get it in this conversation. We're not
going to figure this out. It's ridiculous to try to divide this land. Like it's all one piece. If we believe in one, or we believe in one God, so what is God? It's like the one that makes it all one piece. So why to fight each other? Like we want to have. Please, let's make peace. I think that we should live together in peace, both of sides. And I just, from where I see it, it's just like there is interest that wants to keep this status.
Okay, so I heard one interesting proposition, and I would love to get your take on it. And I know I'm just throwing this at you guys now, but I heard a commentator say, "Make Israel and Palestine a one-state secular nation."
Yeah, I heard about that. I mean, I prefer two-state solution.
Okay.
I believe in a two-state solution.
Okay.
But I think that's where we're heading right now. Eventually, to a one-state solution.
Really?
But not necessarily in a good way. Not in the way that you mention it, like sort of.
Oh, I don't know. Like,
pluralistic. That you mention it as that you heard about it.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to end up being like that. It turned out that the way people are arranged in the world, tribally in a way, is that there are states, and so far it works. And then it's fine, it's okay, as long as you have open borders and sort of that you're not in a castle or in a Troy, visiting Troy.
But there's a lot of bad blood. With all with everything going on in Syria and Hezbollah, whatever, lots of Al Nusra, the names go on. But will the Israeli state survive into this century, do you think?
I think it will. I'm sure it will. What I'm concerned is that what kind of state it would be. So I hope it's going to be what it should be, again, which is a democratic, pluralistic, liberal country, prosperous country where everybody's equal citizen, just like the very basic proposition for democracy, as opposed to a nationalistic, closed society, racist, that is all about differentiating between me and you and certain groups that are more important than others, etc., etc. I hope it's not going to be that way, because there is that kind of wave right now.
Well, we talked so much about the political, historical things, and I'm really glad we did, because it was a really good conversation. But the film is fantastic.
Thank you so much.
Dramatically, how it moves. It's a very strong work, and I suggest whatever you think, about the state of Israel, to check out Incitment.
Thank you so much.